This is Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. Mitch Lafon.
Welcome to this episode of Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. We are August 5th, 2019, and I don't always do this, but about 10 minutes ago, I just got off the phone with Mike from the band Stained and also the band Saint Ansonia, and I figured, you know what? We recorded this August 5th. It is August 5th, 2019. Let's just put it up right away. So you are going to get the absolute freshest interview possible with Mike. It literally, as I put this up, is 10 minutes old. And the band Saint Ansonia has a new album coming out called Flawed Design. They have a new single out currently called The Hunted, which features Sully Erna of Godsmack. Now the band Godsmack just played Heavy Montreal recently, and the last time I spoke to Mike was at Heavy Montreal in 2016, and during the interview I suggest to Mike that Saint Ansonia and Stained should play Heavy Montreal 2020. And fans, if you are not in the Montreal area, you should definitely get up here. It is a rock and roll experience. It really is. It's not just a concert, and it's going to sound kind of weird to say this, but it's a lifestyle experience. I mean, it really is something unique. The food, the branding, the site, and all that. But the band, Stained, has some shows coming up. I know. People are completely like, what? They're playing? But on September 27th, they are at the Louder Than Life Festival in Louisville, Kentucky. October 5th, Foxwoods Resort Casino in, it's in Connecticut, but it's something called Mashantucket or something like that. I can't pronounce it. All you need to know is Foxwoods. Foxwoods in Connecticut. Place to be on October 5th. And October 11th, the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, California. And you'll get a chance to see Aaron Lewis and Mike and all the other guys reunited for some shows. And I'm assuming that they will kick ass. So there you go. And you know what? Why give you the entire spiel this morning? Let's just get into this. Recorded at 9 a.m. on August 5th, 2019, from the band, or from the bands with an S, Saint Ansonia and Stained. Here is Mike. We are speaking with Mike from the band Stained. They will perform at the Foxwoods Resort Casino on October 5th. Tickets going on sale this Friday. Mike, an absolute pleasure to speak with you again.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good.
Excellent.
The last time we had a chance to chat, it was at Heavy Montreal in 2016, and as we were filming this interview, these little baby ducks walked into the scene, and we decided to leave that in the video because it was too adorable. But there you go.
I remember.
I know. Wasn't that great? And by the way, isn't the Heavy Montreal Festival one of the greatest things you have ever attended? It's such a great thing. But let us talk Stained.
It was. I was going to say a lot of those festivals are. We're actually doing a few of them coming up, and I just think that they're fun. I think they're fun for the the person attending them. There's a lot to offer. And just makes for, a great day or multiple days.
Yeah, well, it's honestly helping to keep rock and roll alive. So let's talk about that. You are doing Louder Than Life. You're doing Aftershock. But when we spoke in 2016 and we asked about the future of Stained, you were very non-committal. You were very like, well, I don't know. It didn't seem good. And now we have these shows. How did this come about? What changed?
Well, listen, all along we've been talking and, just trying to find, the right time. And, there was, a few things that we had to work through to try and make happen. And it finally got to the point where we're like, okay, let's do this. I mean, it makes sense. And that's really what it was, is just, the communication and just realizing it felt like the right time to, go and play some shows again.
Now, I interviewed Aaron back in probably April or so, and he was talking about maybe doing some stuff in 2020, but he said, 2020 is 2020, and we'll see when we get there. What is sort of the future of the band after these shows? Is it, hey, we've done these shows, thank you very much? Or is it the beginning of something else?
That's a really good question. And I mean, one that I want to know the answer to as well. I mean, for me, I think it's kind of like, you dip your toe in the water and you see how it is. You know what I mean? It's like, let's do these shows and let's see how it goes. And, I mean, I think everybody's hoping that everything is good and we have a great time, back out on stage playing these songs again, which I'm really looking forward to do. And hopefully there's more to come after that.
So talk to me about that, because you've been doing Saint Ansonia for a few years now. Great band, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, no, and we'll talk quickly about the new single, The Hunted, with Sully Erna, who, by the way, just played Heavy Montreal. So there you go.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But talk to me about getting back into the Stained sort of frame of mind, because you've been doing the Saint Ansonia stuff. There's an energy. There's a performance. There is Saint Ansonia, the band. What's it like, sort of switching back into Stained and getting back into that sort of mental space?
We haven't really got there. I mean, rehearsals start, next month, and but I mean, we do kind of have some songs kicking around, and it's kind of time for me to start doing that. So, but for me, I mean, Stain's what I've known for 25 years. I know that we had a break there, and I love what I do with Adam, and that's been great. But I mean, that's Stain was the band that Aaron and I started back in '94. And there's just a long history there. That I'm excited to be able to get back and play those and explore again, and and see where it goes.
Right. Let's hope it leads to new music. Now, when I was talking to Aaron, he was saying that one of the reasons you had to stop is that these songs are very personal. They come from a very personal space and an emotional space, and it was sort of a scarring to have to sing them over and over again. How do you see the songs? Is it the same sort of emotional impact where you hear it and you hear the pain in the lyrics and you go, oh, I'm not sure I could do 10 months of this. How do you sort of see the music and the lyrics?
Sure. And listen, I've always been a fan. I mean, I've always been a fan of what Aaron does. I mean, I think that, what he sings about and just his voice. I mean, we actually played a song together last week. I went to one of his shows. That's how he kind of announced the Foxwoods thing. And it was great just, being on stage with him again and hearing that voice. Lyrically, I know for him that, he's, delved into a lot of things personally, and, and a lot of them he doesn't talk about, and they're kind of, masked in the way that he says them and the meaning of what they are, so, I'm just always, proud of what we've done and accomplished. And I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to getting up there and playing them again, so, and hopefully Aaron has a good time, and, he's able to deal with, those topics that he's, chosen to write about over the years, and, hopefully he's in a better place and can, embrace what it is and, has, grown, which, I know he has.
Yeah. Well, listen, when I spoke to him in April, he sounded like in a great state of mind, quite frankly. He seemed very, very pleasant and very happy and good space. So let's hope that continues. But just quickly, what does he mean to you? On a professional level, we certainly know what he means. It's Stained, and it's big record sales and it's big concerts. But or maybe you should tell me, what does he mean to you both professionally and personally?
No, absolutely. I mean, listen, I always go back to the story of the first time Aaron came down when I was, that early 20s kid just out of college living in my parents' basement. And I'm getting goosebumps even just talking about it, honestly. And he sang me, the song that he had written called Black Rain. And I literally was like, I played guitar since I was 6, and always was, writing music and trying to just find the right person to do that with and the right partner. And, I remember calling my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and saying, where's this kid been for the last 15 years? How's nobody, heard how good he is? And, and that's kind of what started it. So, I mean, for me, he means, a great partner that started, something that, became bigger than what either of us ever expected or anticipated. And just, very thankful for him and, just how talented he is. And, the relation that we've developed over the years, which, listen, I mean, there's been times where it's been tough, but I mean, you've known anybody for 25 years and, you work in that kind of setting or atmosphere. And I got to tell you, I mean, I always say, like, you could joke about anything to me. It's not going to bother me, like the comments that people write online. I actually laugh about it. I love the bad ones. I mean, I think they're funny. I'm all good with it. But if I write a song and I bring it down to Aaron and he doesn't like it, it's like, I get upset. I used to. I mean, I've kind of, but so it's very personal what we do, and you're kind of opening yourself up to some of the things that, certain songs, even if it's just a riff that I love and he doesn't, it's like I feel like, dejected. I used to. I mean, I've gotten over that. I mean, now it's, but so there was a lot of that we had to kind of grow through and develop and get through, over the years. And we did, I mean, if it's important to you, learn to, you learn to get past that. And it was always very important to us.
It was. So, in English, we have an expression, out of sight, out of mind. The last Stain album is 2011, 8 years now. By the time we get a new one, if we get a new one, it'll be 9 years, 10 years, 11 years. Mm-hmm. But when I do an interview with you, like we did at Heavy Montreal or Aaron earlier, the incredible amount of coverage it gets is out of this world. Why do you think the band still has this staying power? Because it's not easy for a band to put an album out and tour and stay in the public focus, much less disappear for 8 years. And what is it about Stain that fans just love you so much that it doesn't matter and you just have that ability to come back and get everybody excited?
Oh, that's nice to hear. Listen, I hope that's the case. I mean, I think that remains to be seen. But I think that's what we're all hoping for. That is what indeed happens. I don't know. I mean, like I'll say for me personally is that we always, or myself anyways, I just always wanted to write songs and records that I wanted to go back and listen to and that I was excited about and proud of. I mean, I've said multiple times in this interview, how great I think a voice Aaron has, and lyricist and songwriter, and so I mean, I think that comes across. I mean, we were always, like I said, we wrote for ourselves and things that got us excited, and we were just very fortunate that those songs we found connected with with a group of people, and I mean, those great fans that we have allowed us to be able to do this, and and I hope they are still there for when we come do these shows and and are able to see that. So, but I think that we were just always kind of true to who we were and what the music was, and always wrote from our heart, and just tried to write the best songs that we could. And it's nice that they that they did connect.
Oh, they absolutely did connect. So let me put it this way: you do these 3 shows, everything is wonderful. You decide you're going to make a new album, and then head out on tour in 2020. You book the whole thing. How do you sort of balance that with Saint Ansonia? Is it if Stain revs up the machine and does it like a band does it? Do you put Saint Ansonia on the side, or do you say, hey, you know what? I've been building this thing for 4 years. No, I got to balance.
Listen, that's a great question, and I mean, and it's one that I struggle with daily, and I've spoken to Adam about it, and I mean, it's one I just kind of have to figure out and take it day by day and see what happens, and that's kind of where I am. I know it's a shitty answer, but that's kind of been my answer. It's like we have these few shows, and I'm real happy with the new Saint Ansonia record, and looking forward to everybody hearing that, and I mean, there's talk and some stuff that we have booked, I think, coming up, and I'm going to be there for for what I can, and yeah, it's going to be a bit of a juggling act, but I mean, here's the other thing I got to tell you. This, and you hear this all the time, and I mean, you being a journalist, I'm sure you put these press releases out where so-and-so leaves the band to be home with his family because that he's decided is more important than being away for 18 months on the road grinding out a living. I've been home this is the longest stretch I've been home in over 20 years. And I have, 12-year-old kids. And the more that I can be home with them, I mean, that's super important because I'm never going to get, these years back with them. So, and I've loved the time that I've had here and being able to, my son plays, baseball, all the time coaching, and daughter rides horses and going all the shows. And honestly, I feel like a part of me, whatever I can do to be here as much as I can, I need to do, so,
yeah.
I don't know if I would ever, even be able to tour like we used to, or I want to, maybe when they're in college, but by then I'm old already. I'm going to be really old. You know what I mean? So,
come on, Mick Jagger's laughing at you right now. Come on.
Yeah, listen, but I mean, I always, and I said it the other day. I'm like, there's no way those guys need the money, right? I mean, they can't. I mean, what, I guess it's a love for going out there, but I mean, it's a grind, I mean, it takes a toll, and listen, I'm sure the way those guys tour, I mean, when you're selling out stadiums, they're not schlepping it, you know what I mean? So, they're not in a van, so I don't know. I mean, those things are all questions that, kind of remain to be answered. But I do know that, a huge priority for me is my family and being able to be here as much as I can. And knowing that my job takes me away from that,
Right. And by the way, the correct answer was Saint Ansonia would open for Stained. See, that would be perfect. And you get both.
Well, listen, there's talks of that too. I know, but I mean, as I just said in that statement as well, was I'm getting older.
Come on, only the lead singers do all the heavy lifting, right? No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, listen, I remember being over in Europe a couple of years ago, and playing with Stone Sour on a Saturday, and Slipknot headlining a Sunday. You know what I mean? So. I mean, there's obviously precedent. Corey does it, and he sings, I mean, so, yeah.
Hey, listen, and Robert Mason, who's part of Warrant, he did a set with Lynch Mob at the M3 Festival last year, and about 2 hours later, he did a full set with Warrant. He did 2 full sets about 3 hours apart. Sure. So, no. Yeah. It's doable.
No, listen, it's totally doable. There's no question about it. It absolutely is. And we'll see. We'll see how it works out,
So let's real quick. I mean, I know the interview was set up for Stain, but let's quickly talk about Saint Ansonia. We haven't spoken about the band together in 3 years now. The Hunted is out, and by the way, the cover of The Hunted with that wolf on it, beautiful. It's a great cover.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just talk to me about that song and getting Sully in there. It's important to have a big name singer and a brand association, but it's also, you've got your guy and so just talk to me about getting that together.
Oh, sure. Well, what's funny is because that song's been kicking around for a little while. And I mean, honestly, that song was almost part of the inception of, what Saint Ansonia was that, Aaron went to do his country thing, wanted to do that. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I was fortunate enough to be able to, play with Jason Newsted for about a year. We did a record, did a lot of touring. That was great. And in the meantime, I was thinking, what can I do? I have all this music. I have, tons of songs. And it's like, well, what do I do? And I don't sing, Tremonti can sing. He does a great job of it. That's not me. But I have music, So, I was thinking, the Slash thing was a great idea. Santana did it. You go out, you have these songs, and you get different singers. So, Adam was one of them. Sully was one of them. I mean, you can go down the list of all the people that I know and have toured with, and I was talking to a bunch of them and sending some songs out, and I was on the road with Sully, and I said, hey, we got this song, and, we had a day off, and we were close to Chicago, and Johnny Kay, is a good friend of mine, did, the last couple Stain records, the last Saint Ansonia record. Not the newest one, but the one before it. And him and I are just, we're close. And I said, hey, Johnny, whatever you want. So, I hopped on Sully's bus. I said, come on, dude, let's go. We're going to go. So we woke up outside of Johnny's studio, and we spent the day and, got that song finished. And, I played it for Adam. I played it for management, and it's been kind of kicking around. It was originally supposed to be in a movie, years ago, and they ended up not using it. So anyways, Adam always liked it, and, our manager always loved the song. He's like, why don't you guys try and do The Hunted? So we went in, we kind of changed it around a bit, and, Sully was cool with it. He re-sang it, and, there you have it. It was so, it was about the same time I was actually writing with Adam and, some other singers, and, was trying to figure out, what I wanted to do. But that was the inception of Saint Ansonia, because, Adam had left 3 Days Grace at that time, and it just made sense. He was also another guy that just, great, super talented, another one of my favorite singers, you know what I mean? So just fortunate to be able to work with both him and Aaron is fantastic.
It really is. Now, I see we're going to run out of time, so I'll ask you two last questions. Just real quick, when I spoke to Aaron, he said that if you did new music together, it would be brutal, it would be really heavy, it would be in your face. How do you sort of see the band musically if you do make a record? Do you want to go into that sort of, I don't want to call it death metal, but, do you want to go into that sort of heavy metal kind of thing? Or is it like, hey...
Listen, I mean, I think the last Stained record was kind of, I felt it was like one of my favorite records we ever made. And I felt it kind of went back to where we had kind of started and what we kind of started as. And, it was unfortunate, we never really toured on it. It was our last record for Atlantic. They never really did much promoting it. They didn't care anymore. And, I feel like we made one of the best records we ever made. And, I'm not sure how much it got heard, And so, I mean, listen, I think to continue in that direction would be great. And for me, I've always said my job is to write music that Aaron wants to sing over. So if it comes to the point where he says, let's do a record, I'm just going to write stuff until he goes, that's cool. You know what I mean? And however that ends up turning out, if it's, this, as every band says, the heaviest record we ever made, then it is. If it's not, it's not. I mean, who knows? We've kind of been all over the map on, our whole career on that. So,
which is good. It's nice to be able to spread your wings. I mean, it worked out for you two and Madonna, so what the heck? Right? It did. Do you hand over the reins to Aaron on that? If he comes to you and says, listen, it's going to sound like this, and maybe you're not feeling it, you just say, listen, let's just make this record. If that's what Aaron wants, that's what Aaron gets. Or is there still a, no, we're going to have a consensus and we're going to put stuff out
it's always a consensus. But the bottom line is, as I've always said, is that I have to write music that's going to get him excited and want him to sing over it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was funny. We went to make that record Illusion of Progress, which is kind of like the oddball record of our career. You know what I mean? It's really, really different. And, we went in saying that was going to be this heavy record. And I wasn't writing it. I came in with these riffs, and Aaron was like, I really like it. So, I mean, it really kind of all depends upon where we are, what gets us excited at that time. You know what I mean? So, and that remains to be seen if we're going to get there and what that will be.
Well, let's hope. And then I'll finish on this one because we're over time now. But Flawed Design is Saint Ansonia's second record. Just if you can offer any kind of sort of general comment about, the release date and what fans can expect. And musically, is it sort of part two? Is it a step in a different direction? Just anything where we can sort of fluff up the fan base.
Yeah. Sure. I don't have an exact release date yet, but I mean, I know I imagine it's got to be this year. The single's out, but I mean, we're very close to finish mixing, and it's got to get mastered. So I mean, it's it's going to be done. It just took a long time to make. I mean, a lot of things happened. Adam had his first kid. He had to be a dad, and we went through some changes. And like I said, I was enjoying being home. I wasn't actually pushing it because I was like, I love being home, and this is cool. And we had the producer, and we were working through a bunch of different songs, and I definitely think that it's the next record that we needed to make, and I felt the first record was diverse, and we spoke of this, with the Stain thing being heavy and some things being different. I like that diversity. I like heavy to not so heavy to, and that's what I think this record is. There's some, heavier songs on there. There's some, acoustic songs on there, but it has that kind of mix. but the bottom line is, I think they're all great songs.
Well, of course. Can you imagine putting out an album with songs you don't like?
I mean, sometimes you listen back and you go, what was I thinking on that one?
True. True.
You don't know. I mean, but right now, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. We worked really hard to get it to where it is, and I mean, hopefully everybody gets a chance to hear it and enjoys it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And look at that. We did this interview duck-free today. So there you go. We've accomplished something new. And October 5th.
I got ducks in the pond next to my house, so when I always got ducks around.
I've got some out. I've got ducks and geese and skunks in this backyard. But Foxwood Resort Casino, October 5th, the only East Coast date so far. Let's make some more, and let's hope that we can get Stained and Saint Ansonia back up to Montreal for Heavy Montreal 2020. I think that would be epic and perfect.
That'd be great. Yeah, no, I'd love that for sure. And Mitch, as always, I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you. And let's do this again soon. When the album drops, let's come on, call me back. Let's do another one.
I'm around.
Thank you, sir.
I'm ready.
As we say in Montreal, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.
Same to you.
Cheers. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
You're listening to Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. Rock Talk.